Another thing I found interesting, I put it in the show notes, was addition to reserves. Have you heard of that term?
No.
Addition to reserve. It's basically, and it kind of like has all kind of come up because there's a chunk of land near where I live that's farmland, great farmland.
Yeah.
And there's talk of it kind of going, being sold. And I'm doing the quotes, sold to the natives there, to the reserve next door to the First Nations community. And then what do you think will happen once it's sold to the First Nations?
Developed.
It'll get developed. So it's essentially
sneaky
Pete's.
But it must be pretty public. That's what's going to happen.
It's not public yet, and it's very interesting. It's like this, like you can imagine being like First Nations land. It's like this political landmine, so to speak, and it really is, because I've heard that people have reached out to people on the ALC, the Land Commission, and they're pit bulls and they're savages on every other chunk of land getting put into development if it's in farmland. But this one, they will not touch. Well, why not?
Because they wanted to go get developed.
No, because they're just scared of just this idea of being racist or against First Nations or whatever, right? So,
fascinating on that note. So I went to go see Trey in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
And he's a Choctaw Indian.
Okay.
And they're Christians. And so I go into this Memorial Day service there, and they're singing hymns in the native Choctaw language, but Christian hymns. And like the whole tribe is.
That's pretty cool.
Huge tribe.
Pretty cool.
That's something I'd never experienced before.
Awesome. Yeah. So there's like a huge mission field here too, in that sense. And I mean, I think our church does it relatively well in Lake Arrock. We have a church there, and there's a large First Nations community there. I just feel like it was interesting. So I had an ethics real estate class, which people are like, yeah, that guy needs an ethics real estate class. But anyways, it's good. The most practical part of real estate, actually, especially like if it's a small community and you're trying to live beyond reproach, and it's obviously not easy. You saw the text message that I got earlier from somebody.
Yes.
Self-righteous and entitled. Which, to be fair, like I am sometimes. So
did that hurt when you got that? Or you were just like,
well, I did what I always want to do when I get bombed. I want to like justify, rationalize, throw bombs back. I didn't do any of those things. I left it, stayed calm, escape. You think I'm a real escaper when I get land-based today? To some degree I may, but I know, I think you got to face it head on, especially when it's somebody that's relatively close to you. I said sorry and owned the part that, like, I owned what I did wrong. I definitely did something wrong. Said I was really sorry. But sorry is when you change, Gary. Sorry is when you change.
It's easy to
True
know
repentance.
It's easy to know the right things.
Sorry I got caught.
We had someone over on Sunday, and they were saying how in a world where we're instant gratified with basically anything we want, that it's so counterintuitive that our sanctification is slow. Like how we're becoming more like Christ is slow, and we're just like, well, why am I not better yet? Why am I not better yet? Because everything else we're used to, like just being better right away, and sanctification is just it's.
Well, it also happens through a challenging experiences, right? Even this experience where it's like, hey, I was offside, I was wrong, and I can totally.
It's never in good times.
Yeah.
Trey said that, so I have a podcast that will have come out last week, or it'll come out this week. I'm not sure exactly, depending on how soon I can edit it. But so with Trey's episode, and he said in there he had everything. He was a F-18 pilot. He was like traveling the world. He had 2 boys. He had money and everything else like that. And he goes, "It's not hard times that test men. It's good times that test men."
Oh, he disagrees.
Yeah, he goes, "You really show up who you are. If you're during the like everything's going well, we'll see if you're still like a kind, good person."
Okay, interesting. Man, I don't know if I.
Because I mean, there is truth to that, right? Like, because usually that's when
that's when people stumble for sure.
Exactly.
No, that's
the test.
That's fair. How do you deal with success? Most people can handle failure better than they can success. Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
That's a fair statement. But the character is really built through challenging things.
Yes.
Anyways, back to my ethics class. I feel like that's amazing that I could remember that. So I go in this class, and they do like the land acknowledgement, right? That we're all on stolen land and this idea. And then, but nobody's giving it back. So like, there's no repentance there. It's like, just shut up and give the land. I can't stand virtue signaling, right? Just infuriates me. Like, if you're sorry, then just like make it right. But
exactly. Yeah.
None of this, like, hey, we're just going to pay penance by continually and the other thing that's becoming a real problem now is in this culture is like, and that's what I'm getting to, is where when you don't have truth, there's no reconciliation. Like, it's called truth and reconciliation. So everything needs to be up front. People can't be like, it needs to be all out there. And now we've gotten to the spot where, so he does the land acknowledgement. The teacher, great teacher, starts talking about you know, making things right with First Nations communities, talks about all the other inclusive diversity, all these things, and then how that plays into ethics and real estate, which I think real estate, and he said it, you know, is inclusive, and, you know, like there's realtors of all kinds, all races, pretty, there's probably people that shouldn't be realtors that are, whatever. But then so we got into our breakout groups, and I started talking about addition to reserves and about, hey, this is a problem. Like now we have people that would say in our phrase, and just so people understand that if there's anyone that's listening to this, that's not from the BC, the phrase BC in particular, but the Fraser Valley really, if land's in the agricultural land reserve, which is a chunk of land that the BC government in 1972 dictated as this will be farmland forever. If it's not in that, it can be developed. You could turn it into houses. You still have to get it zoned. There's still a process. It costs a fortune. The governments just make everything complicated. But the land that's in the agricultural land reserve, it doesn't matter. Like in Chilliwack's a great example. There's land like right in the heart of the city. And it's great farmland, but it's like sandwiched between all these subdivisions, Stevenson Road, all these areas, right? That land, theoretically, that should be houses. Like this is just making a weird city. Now we have these, you know, agriculture, huge tractors trying to drive through school zones, like just, you know, totally, you know, inefficient, right? We got all these sewer lines running out to hinterland, but we got this land right here. That's great. But because of the agricultural land reserve and the way the commission is, and it used to be, now I'm rabbit trailing, but they used to have it where you could swap land. So you could have a weird chunk. Well, they've kiboshed most of that now because, you know, guys were getting pretty crafty. They were grabbing some weird, obscure chunk that was not at all good for farming and trading it. Yeah. I think we should still be able to do that. I just think that the minute you have a blanket policy in life on anything, you get to a spot where things are just inefficient and screwed up. And that's what we have now. So you have this beautiful farmland in Chilliwack, let's say, and where we live, that's not going to ever be developed. But you have all this land that is owned by First Nation bands, and they are developing it gangbusters. So they are basically, and they're not allowed to sell it. And there again, I've talked to natives about this, and they would say that's not fair. And I would kind of agree. And if you look at a reserve even, so you look at a house and be like, well, how come they're not looking after that? Well, they don't own it. So it's still the rental mentality. Like they don't have freedom to actually sell that, you know? So it's caused, anyways, we're really getting into the weeds now with, you know, the Indian Act and all that. And I'm not enough. There's people that are listening to this that really know this stuff. I'd love to hear their perspective.
Yeah. If you know someone, maybe come on the podcast and talk about it. Because I want to know more. Trey was saying that in Oklahoma, they had this, but it was like in the early 1900s, they basically just divvied up the amount of land that was among the amount of males, adults, and everyone got like 110 acres.
And you could do whatever you want with it after that.
Yeah.
So that's what I think the solution would be to now. I think that every person that is First Nation should get a large check, and then it's done. It's like, hey, here's the amount.
And get rid of the Indian Act.
And get rid of the reserves and this perpetual idea of you have to live here because this is the house that you were given for free. It's not equitable. It's like, well, now you're given, especially over time, these houses are becoming derelict. They're, you know, it's a problem. It's like, hey, these people are not living in great situations. Give them a check. It's like, hey, we're starting.
What do the natives think themselves?
Well, they don't agree. Like they don't agree. The one lady I talked to who's a good friend, I mean, she was basically, she lives here in Chilliwack on a reserve, and she's like, yeah. And I was talking about from a Dutch perspective, how I grew up, where it's like, oh, you're given a free house on an awesome thing. And she's saying to me, like, we don't own it. Yeah. So like, it's not like we can sell it. Like, yeah, we can live there, but we got to pay to look after it. And when you didn't work for it and you weren't, you know, you have a different view of kind of what it even means to own something or to have it.
Yeah.
And just to be fair, the minute you can't sell something, it's not yours.
That's right.
So basically what happened is in Chilliwack, this is very prevalent. We have all these reserves now being turned into huge developments. And I mean, they're basically being sold to big, you know, local developers, beautiful, you know, places. Now where those chunks are running out now with the addition to reserves.
So who's
got
pushing
this
that?
Workaround? The developer is.
But like, what developers?
It's brilliant.
Donate, but like,
it's brilliant.
But what? Yeah, okay. But why are they?
They're taking land that's worth $100,000 an acre, farmland, and they're turning it into land that's worth $1 million.
I get that.
An acre.
I get what's happening there.
Okay.
But why is there an agreement that why should the reserves be made bigger? Like what's that thing?
So if you go on the website, you can go right on the Government of Canada website, and it would basically say, if you Google addition to reserves and go look at the terms, it would say, you know, is it beneficial to the band or to the reserve to get that land? Well, of course it is beneficial, right? It's like like financially beneficial. I don't know if that's the heart. That probably never was the heart, but that's often how things are. The interesting thing is too, in my opinion, is that by the time that somebody has the political will to talk about this publicly, the horse will be so far out of the barn that there will be no turning back.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe there will be some other ones that will get saved, but
yeah. Anyways, just pretty interesting because this is where like two paths cross. You have the person. So I brought it up in my small group in my class, and then I brought it up in the big group, and it was like, Crickets. It was just humorous. And I brought it up very genuinely, very nicely. I'm just like, hey, have you guys ever heard of this? No. And one lady was like, oh, that's pretty crazy. And that was it. Like the instructor's like, next.
Sounds like a church meeting.
I mean, I get it. Like dealing with awkward things. It's just, if you don't deal with it, you're going to end up having a lot of unintended consequences.
That's
like,
anything.
Everybody here would agree in the Fraser Valley that we don't want phenomenal farmland. Like even non-farmers, farmers. I would actually say non-farmers, a lot of them feel even more that way. Like people want food security.
Yeah, I love
especially
it
with
for that reason. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, especially with the trade war, right? We got the Americans, right? They might cut us off from all their produce down in California. Like we need to make sure we can grow our own food. You don't agree with that?
They're just fighting. They're just
petty stuff. It's all BS.
Yeah. Anyways, that
was a rabbit trail.
Long rabbit trail.
Oh, people love it.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Happy. Have a great week, and curious to get feedback on some of those I'd be curious for you to get a guest on that understands Indigenous rights and truth and reconciliation.
Yeah, I know Matt Sean's had someone on that was also a Christian, so just maybe talk to that guy because I listened to his episode on it.
Okay, I haven't listened to that one in a long time, but yeah, and there again, every person, just like if you could ask any farmer about farming, will have a different perspective, right? So, you got to be careful just saying, hey, this is the viewpoint on this.
Also, if you have a question that you want us to talk about, send that in to us on my website, furiouslycurious.co, or on our social media.
Somebody mentioned about fertility for me to talk about more about that, but we'll do that next time, or the lack thereof in my case.
Yes.
Awkward. Have a great week.
Yeah.
My mother's cringing. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Mom.
Sorry,
40. I should be growing up. But
bye. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help a lot in creating more content, improving the quality of the content, putting the production value, getting more guests on, and me being able to spend more time and energy towards it. So if you're interested in doing that, you can click up here and it'll take you to a support page. But you can also subscribe to the podcast by clicking over here and doing that. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.